Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. Well, it seems to be that the thing that's on a lot of people's minds today, of course it's also being rammed down our fucking throats, is the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare. I have talked about this issue before, and I've made clear that what this boils down to is a bailout for the insurance industry. Do not forget, people, do not forget, this is a forced mandate in which you are being forced to purchase a shitty product from bankrupt companies in an effort desperately to keep them afloat. These are the same insurance companies that were bundled with the fucking banks back during the collapse that started in 2008 and continues to today. Okay? Some of these groups probably received funds from the Federal Reserve at zero interest rate in much the same way as banks have done. Okay? So make no mistake about it. This is an insurance company bailout on your fucking dime that you're forced to do. Now, as far as the charade goes, as far as the fucking theatrics go that you're seeing in Congress, okay, where supposedly the evil, bad, right-wing Republicans, they want to destroy this at all costs because it's so terrible. Because why? Well, they give you all of the usual fucking bullshit stories, okay? And that is that it's socialized medicine, which it's not, that it's a government takeover of medical insurance or the medical industry or whatever, which it isn't, okay? And they give you all of these kind of things, all right? Those are their big points, okay? This is all a big sham. It's all a big show. Now let's also not forget that the Affordable Care Act had input from the insurance companies themselves. Well, let me see. If I'm going to write a goddamn bill that says somebody has to have insurance, well, I'm going to make sure they got to buy fucking insurance from my fucking lousy ass. So yeah, there's all kinds of shit in there to benefit the insurance companies. Okay? Now, let's also not forget that the basic framework of the ACA or Obamacare was written by the Heritage Foundation, okay, which is a quote-unquote right-wing fucking lunatic think tank, all right? So, normally if the Heritage Foundation says boo, the Republicans are all blah, 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 all over it, okay? But because this was put in place by a quote-unquote liberal Democrat, which don't get me started on what Obama actually is, okay, they can't support it. And therefore they use it as a hostage technique, okay? The sad reality of Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, is that they want you to believe that what you're getting with Obamacare is a good thing. This is a great thing. And that's why the evil, troll-like, haggard Ted Cruz's and fucking mentally deranged other fuckers in the Senate and the House, these far-right radical fucking retards, are so opposed to it, okay? Because they're set up as the enemies in this case, all right? They're the bad guys because they're trying to keep from the people something that's supposedly good for them. And the more they rally against it, the more supposedly sane, rational people are going to conclude that Obamacare is a good thing and we should want this, okay? But the sad reality is that Obamacare is a big pile of shit. Yes, it did put some good things in, like keeping your kids on your insurance and having to cover people with pre-existing conditions, but it doesn't address anything having to do with the healthcare issues in this country. Not one single iota of a fucking thing does it address, such as exorbitant costs. Do you know where most of your costs go when it goes to insurance? it goes to the insurance company for their administration, overhead, and all the costs that they have. You know that hundreds of billions of dollars that are spent on either insurance or health care go to all of that. Go to all of that overhead for insurance companies. Okay? Hundreds of billions of dollars that are not put into actual patient care. Okay? That's the real fucking problem. So, if you want to, and I'm talking to people out there who think that this is a good thing, okay, and that we should really be fighting for this, okay, understand that what we need to do is get rid of the fucking insurance companies and have Medicare for all. Alright? You have a single payer program. It eliminates all of that hundreds of billions of dollars every fucking year. Okay? And if you're not even going to go that far, why not address the fucking costs? Why does an MRI here cost like 4 times as much as other countries? Okay? Why do other diagnostic tests cost 4, 5, 10 times as much as other countries? Why is it that we have to pay retail, giant, huge, fucking enormous retail prices for fucking drugs in this country when other countries have them for thousands of a percent less in cost? Okay? And the reason is because all of these companies have positioned themselves in such a way that they are the ones who are dictating what is going on. And it's all profit driven. Understand? Healthcare should not be about profit. That is not to say that people should not make a profit for what they do. As doctors deserve to earn a living. I agree with that 100%. And the same thing goes for pharmaceutical companies. You come up with a new pill that doesn't kill people and actually does something good, you deserve to make money on that. Now, how much money should you make on that? Hundreds of billions? $500 billion? What are we talking about here? You know, where is the limit to the greedy, fucking, self-centered bullshittery that we have in this country? There's no end to it, you understand? That's why they can keep going up and up and up and up and up. So you have to have price controls of some kind. Of some kind. What I would suggest is that if you have a Medicare for All program in this country where everybody is fucking covered, there is a single fucking payer, then you say to the pharmaceutical industry, we have everybody in the country as our clients, so let's talk about negotiating lower rates. A lot fucking lower. And don't forget that Bush put in a provision back when he brought the drug coverage in for Medicare. He put in a provision that forbid Medicare from negotiating with the pharmaceutical companies for lower drug prices. So there's another guy on the payroll for the pharmaceutical industrial complex. Okay? There's only one kind of plan that is going to reduce costs, it's going to cover everybody, and it's going to address a lot of the problems. And the vast majority of the problems in the medical industry in this country is the fact that things cost too fucking much money. You understand? Too fucking much. And if you're going to charge someone $4,000 for a fucking MRI that only costs, say, I don't even know how much it costs to run an MRI, you know, but say it's $1,000, all right, and you're charging someone $4,000. That is highway fucking robbery, and that needs to stop. That needs to stop. You cannot keep gouging people who are at the mercy of you because they have a sickness, a disease, an illness, whatever. You understand? You're making victims of a medical issue into victims of your greed. So there's only one way to address this, and that's with a single payer program. Medicare for all, for everybody. Everybody's in. and drug coverage. Covers everything. And you negotiate lower drug prices from the pharmaceutical industry, and you've eliminated the vast majority of fucking costs of healthcare in this country. That's that. And, oh, by the way, the last Republican candidate for president, Mr. Mitt Romney, enacted almost identical fucking healthcare policy in Massachusetts when he was governor there. And if it's perfectly okay for him as a Republican to adopt this policy, why wouldn't it be so for the Republicans in the House and the Senate? So you can see why this is a sham. It's written by right-wingers. It's based on a framework by a right-wing think tank. It was adopted by a Republican, and they're opposing it. And it's only because they want you to think that what you're getting is good, you understand? So you won't fight for a single-payer program. So you will not continue to push for something that's actually going to address fucking costs and make life better in this country for everybody by doing something about the healthcare industry in this country. And that is do away with the ridiculous insurance companies. Let them all go fucking broke. I don't give a shit. That's really the only answer. And that's why you're seeing this theatrical performance by Ted Cruz and all these other people trying to make this a big deal. And that's why you have the House voting to defund Obamacare, you know, how many times? 100 times? Because they're the ogres. Well, they are ogres. But they're the ogres in this story because they're the ones that are trying to snatch away something from you. And that's supposed to make you think that what they're taking away is really good, so you want to fight for that. It's all a fucking show. It's all a show. They're trying to make you accept something that is woefully inadequate and completely inferior. Not to mention too fucking expensive. That addresses no issues in the health insurance and healthcare industry in this country at all. Number one of which is cost. It does nothing about cost. Nothing. Zero, zip, nada. You want to know why? Because it's all profit driven, and all of this money is going to be funneled into the profits of insurance companies and all of the other ancillary stuff that go along with it. Do not be fooled. Do not be fooled. This is all a charade. Thank you.